if your sister is innocent?
I believe my sister is innocent. She has protested her innocence from the get-go. That's her position, and it hasn't changed.
Is the federal government lying in its allegations and into convictions of her charges?
It's not a great line. I'm afraid you'll have to repeat your question.
Is the federal government lying, sir?
The federal government finds itself in the following position. It made an agreement with Jeffrey Epstein, and under the terms of that agreement, there were a number of named individuals and a number of unnamed individuals that are entitled to benefit from the plea deal that Epstein made with the government. My sister is one such beneficiary. The fact is that if America's citizens cannot rely that an agreement that they enter into with the government will be dishonored by the government, then what can it rely on? That's a fundamental point, and that's the main point that the judges wish to discuss. However, as your reporter alluded to, my sister has a very substantial appeal, including a number of other very, very significant points that the appeal court did not have the time to listen to, but it has a very powerful brief that it has to consider. And so we remain reasonably confident that this panel will have to give my sister something out of this appeal.
Okay, so let's go through that together. I want to make sure that I'm accurate. So the brief that was filed by her attorneys, so they asked the court to review not only the statute of limitations, whether or not the trial violated, as you mentioned, and as we talked about with Caitlin Becker, the NPA. For our viewers' understanding, the co-conspirators were named, but your sister by name was not named. I believe that's an important point. An allegation of a juror's misconduct, among other things. In your opinion, what of those is most important?
Well, I think some of them are, if they get home on it's game over straight away. The NPA, if the judges hold that the government must abide by the agreement that it entered into, in other words, that we can't have an American government that does one thing in Florida and another thing in New York. There's only one USA. That's a fundamental point. So if that gets home, that's the end of the matter. She should never have been prosecuted. She would be exonerated on the spot. Clearly, another crucial point is that she didn't have a fair trial, particularly because a number of jurors, certainly one, and by his own testimony, perhaps another two jurors failed to disclose their prior sexual abuse, thus depriving the defense of an opportunity to strike them for cause. So effectively, Ghislaine had a jury of 9 non-prejudiced jurors. That would be enough, in my view, for the trial for a mistrial to be declared and a retrial to be ordered. So I would count that as very high up the appeal list. Obviously, if the statute of limitations point gets home, well, those charges can't be prosecuted. These are all pretty important points.
Ian, before I let you go, you talked about her getting a fair trial. Before I let you go, what about the victims? Were they treated fairly? Did she have a duty to protect these women if there were knowledge at all?
Listen, the victims have had a chance to be heard by the Epstein Compensation Fund. Now, that may not compensate them for emotional upset that was caused to them, but nonetheless, they have had some redress. They have had an opportunity when they came to my sister's trial to state their case. And Ghislaine, at the end of the trial, when she was asked by the judge if she had words. She said, look, I wish that we could have run the clock back, and that she hoped that whatever had happened to her would give these jurors some solace and that they would be able to move on.
Right.
So now my sister is herself a victim of an abusive process that has taken place here, and she's entitled to her justice just as much as the victims hope that they are entitled to theirs.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.